So perhaps both of you can each give an answer to what you think is they're the biggest challenge for talent this year.
For me, I suppose from a young talent point of view, we're in a cost of living crisis and we've had a real devaluing of careers in education as well. So if we're looking at the future pipeline for the industry, it's really important that third parties like Brixton step in. So for me, there's a complete lack of awareness in our industry that the industry exists. So a lot of communities haven't heard of it. If you are from a community that's socially mobile, maybe there's a big aspiration gap. And then if you do want to get into marketing, advertising, ad tech, then accessibility is a real key issue. A lot of companies tend to recruit for type rather than potential talent and growth. And I know that, Troy, you had an experience of this, didn't you, with your degree?
Yeah, so hello. I studied German and Mandarin at university, so it's quite an unusual topic. And when I was applying for jobs, because my experiences kind of fell into recruitment and a bit of education, I wasn't necessarily seen as I guess a priority candidate. I would actually argue that we need to start looking at hiring for skills and, as Ali said, potential, because the marketing and advertising landscape is so broad. I definitely think that we are sleeping on so many possible, really eager and just really hardworking candidates that could be of real use to the marketing, to the industry. Also, we spoke about siloing a lot. I know they're mentioning it quite a lot in the talks today. So from a recruiting perspective, rather than siloing into type, having somebody who's always your stereotypical marketing professional, why don't we start looking in more areas that we haven't actually previously considered?
It's a great answer. I do think you're completely right. Sometimes I think because traditionally there's been quite a narrow field of vision about what future talent looks like. There's been a legacy of missing out on a lot of very valuable people who would have, valuable benefits to the industry. And definitely what you said about your languages degree, to me it would seem obvious that somebody who could learn Mandarin and German and understand two different cultures would be incredibly valuable to our industry. But I think it's really interesting that you found it challenging to get in because it wasn't necessarily...
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily obvious. And also, one thing, maybe it is obvious to us as candidates, but unless you're actually taught how to put it in a format that people will understand. When I was tutoring, one thing that I would always say to the kids is, I know you know what we're talking about, but you need to show the examiner what you know. So in the same way, how can we help kids really... and kids, 18 to 30-year-olds, younger.
You know, you're all mature and get a job.
No, oh my God, no, I'm a kid.
Summer, you were one of those.
No, but how can we really help people who are very fresh and green and new and help them help the industry, because realistically they are the future and that we're looking to them. So
do you think that talents from, say, communities that aren't traditionally represented in our industry have a harder job selling themselves in because the skills aren't necessarily as widespread, that word of mouth, having that family connection maybe?
Absolutely. I mean, you learn you're kind of taught in a subliminal way that if you don't see yourself in industry, then maybe you're not supposed to be there. I never would have thought that I would go into a creative industry. I didn't even know these roles existed. I mean, I'm very lucky because my mom was that first generation who's done well and has been successful, as a Black woman, and being able to follow in her footsteps is definitely, I'm very fortunate. But at the same time, I think it's also a confidence thing as well. If you're always constantly being pushed down left, right and center in an obvious way, but also on social media. I mean, even just looking at what an ideal candidate might look like, looking at what schools they went to. I mean, even looking at university and how much it costs to actually go to uni. And then there's other situations I don't know, you might have carers, for example. They're caring for people. They don't have time. They don't have the energy to even think about themselves or think about what even is available that's not directly in front of them. And then also just learning to be curious and be brave is something. I think if you just give people the confidence, young people the confidence to just do what they believe they would like to do.
If you like this video, please subscribe. The Media Leader is the UK's leading source of analysis, opinion and data for people who work in advertising and media.